is Ryan PB Hebert, and welcome to Series 7 Predictions. Today's guest is the one and only Snooze VGC. How we doing?
How's it going? It's been a long time since we talked. It's going to be great to do some series predictions and see what we all think about what's coming up.
Absolutely. It's been a hot second, and just so people know, the last time that we were connected together, we were doing some stuff for something called Pinnacle. And, it's just better left in the past for this. We're moving on.
Yeah, it is. It's better left in the past.
So, Mr. Snooze VGC, tell us about yourself, please.
So I'm Preston Clark, aka SnoozeVGC, whatever you want to call me. It's fine. I really don't mind. I am a VGC player. Obviously, I won the 2017 Utah Regional, and I've performed well in some tournaments beyond that. I've been playing since 2012. I've been really ingrained in the VGC community since about middle of 2016 is when I really jumped into the community. And I've just never looked back. I've loved it ever since. The best way for you to follow me is going to be my Twitter. I think most players are on Twitter right now, and that's going to be at SnoozeVGC. That's where I'm the most active with the Pokemon community, and that's where I post a lot of my updates for videos and streams. And if you want to connect with me, that's how you're going to want to do it.
So our first question here is going to be, what is your favorite Pokemon in the upcoming Series 7 metagame, and why?
So my favorite Pokemon in the upcoming Series 7's metagame. So there's been a lot of talk about great Pokemon coming back. But the one that I'm actually most excited to try is Naganadel. I made a video on it on my YouTube about why I think it might be good, but it's kind of a sleeper pick, right? It's never really been used ever since it was like introduced into the game. I think it's a little bit underrated. It's one of the only dragons that is not weak to fairy, but can also fight back. Great speed tier, great offensive stats. That's how I like to play. I like the offensive Pokemon. So I'm excited to try it. It looks good on paper. We'll see how it does in practice, though.
I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a really interesting take and one I haven't heard yet. So hopefully viewers find that interesting as well to see if Naganadel is able to prove itself worthy in this upcoming series. Series 5 and 6 brought some very unique Pokemon to the top of the top 10 most popular Pokemon in those metagames. What is one Pokemon in your mind, whether it be Series 5 or Series 6, that maybe isn't just going to get that spotlight that it did in these past couple series?
I think one of the Pokemon... So this Pokemon, when it was introduced in Series 5, is going to be Urshifu.
Mm-hmm.
So Urshifu, it's, I think, in like the top 20 maybe of Series 5, with about like a 12% usage, which isn't bad by any means, but compare that to its Series 6 usage of 30%. It's going to drop off quite a bit with Togekiss coming back, Dragapult coming back, Rillaboom, and Incineroar, Fast Sun, Cinderace. I think it's going to make Urshifu kind of step down a little bit from its top 3 spot from Series 6 to maybe top 20 again.
Okay.
We'll also see how it fares with a lot of the other Pokemon coming back, like the Tapus. Urshifu really doesn't like fairy types, and we got some really strong fairy types coming back. So I think it's going to step down. It's really strong in Series 6, but I just don't think it's going to have the same muscle in Series 7.
Yeah, very true. I like the take a lot. I haven't heard Urshifu as a take yet, to be kind of stepping down here in about 9 days when this DLC comes out at the time of recording this. So I'm very excited to see if that's going to become a reality with all the fairy types coming back. So I love that take. We've got upcoming team cores you see as being potentially strong. Maybe you don't have ideas yet, but with the Naganadel, I'm curious, do you have an idea for a really strong core that works around that Pokemon?
In theory, Naganadel does really well, I think, on teams that obviously cover its ground weakness and its psychic weakness. So it's going to want to be on teams that can help cover that. So maybe like a Tapu Lele to take any of that psychic weakness, a Landorus to be immune to any of the ground weaknesses. I think it could perform well on a core like that. They also work well together. Intimidate's going to be great for Naganadel and Tapu Lele because their defensive stats aren't that great. But I think working together like that, they have some good pivoting options.
For sure. And they're all very, very offensive. Just what you like. So I think it'll work out for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And speaking of Landorus-T and the other genies, do you think they're going to be as popular in previous formats?
So I'll say that nothing has stopped Landorus from being really popular in the past.
Mhm.
Like we have Dynamax, we have really bulky Pokemon that can take advantage of Landorus, like Lapras, for example. I don't
Mhm.
think it fears Landorus even a little bit. And then Pokemon that have any sort of water ice type attack that can Dynamax are just gonna laugh in Landorus's face. But I mean, Landorus was used a lot in restricted formats where Kyogre and Rayquaza and Xerneas and all these really powerful Pokemon dominated, and it did just fine. I think it will have competition from Incineroar like it has since Incineroar got Intimidate, but I think it's going to be a very popular Pokemon. People I think are downplaying it a little bit, but those people that are really good at using Landorus, they'll do just fine. As for Thundurus and Tornadus, I think Tornadus is going to be really popular. With that prankster tailwind and its other bevy of options that it can use in taunt and icy wind and hurricane and rain dance. I think it is going to be a great Pokemon, and people that used the King Torn, the King
Mhm.
Tornadus
Yeah.
Mega Kangas Concord in the past, I think they're going to really jump on Tornadus and make some good teams with that. Thundurus is the one that I think is the most up in the air. Um, with Tapu Koko coming back, Thundurus kind of takes a back seat as the premier electric type. And then we also have Pokemon like Grimmsnarl that I think are just better Thunderwave users because they also have access to dual screens.
Mhm.
And back in the day, Thundurus was pretty much only used for Thunderwave and Swagger, and those have been nerfed. And I just don't think he's going to be the prankster user. But and we'll talk about this a little bit later. I think he might be a good Defiant user though.
I gotta say, your take on Landorus being underhyped is counter to that of some other people, some other friends of mine, and a couple other people that have recorded with me for this series. People think it's overhyped. People think that just won't do as well with all of the counters to it. But I personally am of the opinion that Landorus always finds a way to make itself relevant, and so.
Exactly. And me and my friend Elusive or Taylor Brinkerhoff,
Mhm.
he said this to me, and I think this actually has a lot of weight to it. He said a meta is largely defined by the best ground types, and I think to an extent that's really true because in the beginning the meta game was like Excadrill. Like Excadrill is the best ground user, and then the metagame kind of evolved around this Excadrill Tyranitar core of why and why it was so good. And I think
Mhm.
Landorus outshines Excadrill and outshines Garchomp and all this because it's just intimidates huge with access to stab, max airstreams, stab ground, rock slides, U-turns. I think we'll see a step away from the choice scarfed Landoruses
Yeah.
and maybe more towards the assault vested or Yachi Berry Landoruses that take advantage of Dynamax for their teams.
Assault Vest has been the overall agreement and kind of compromise that I've seen from a lot of players in order to still capitalize off of the offensive potential, but still have some of the defensive potential, just being Landorus in general. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
really great take there.
So I just think I think they'll be surprised with how popular it will be and how much trouble it can give them if they're not running something like Lapras,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely,
and
absolutely.
without HP ice, there's not going to be random ice
I
type attacks. Like,
know.
so there's not going to be that surprise HP ice on your Landorus. I think you'll be a lot more aware of where the ice type attacks will be on the opposing team so
Mhm.
you can protect your Landorus.
Yeah, I'm with you there. No more surprises coming out of nowhere. Ally switch is always a thing, right? So,
It is. Yep.
so speaking of hidden abilities, the hidden ability patch, a confirmed item for the upcoming DLC, allows Pokemon to just instantly get their hidden ability now. So this really makes it incredibly easy to get those hidden abilities that were once previously not very easy to get, especially for the genies. So talking about Thundurus, Defiant Thundurus of all Pokemon, you're talking about how Landorus is going to be underwhelming. Well, if Landorus is going to be that hype, do you think Defiant Thundurus really should be that hype as well?
I think so. I think people are gonna be really testing this ability patch to the max, right? We haven't had the Defiant ability on the Genies since like what 2013
Yeah, something a
when
while back.
Arash won the worlds with Defiant Tornadus. And so I think people are going to be really jumping on these Defiant Genies and using them and really figuring out how they can be useful. And with Landorus and his ground moves not effective against Tornadus, I think Tornadus has the option to be usable even with the Landorus metagame because Landorus can only hit with rock types. Tornadus can Dynamax, and if it's intimidated and has the Defiant boost, then he's just going to be doing huge amounts of damage. And Tornadus gets great physical moves, great special moves. It can be used in so many different ways, and so I think it's going to be used a lot, but I honestly think it'll be average at best.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate the honesty and what you're thinking,
Mhm.
because I feel like a lot of other people are probably thinking the exact same thing, that like this Pokemon has potential, but can I, as a player, bring that potential to this Pokemon, especially with this ability that hasn't been around in quite a hot second? So we'll just
Mhm.
have to see how things play out, especially with the more popular mons coming back like Dragapult.
Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah. Some other abilities that I think are going to be really cool to use.
please,
And I'll have a video coming out on this Pokemon later this week. Is going to be Entei. So Entei's
yes,
hidden ability is Inner Focus, which means Entei doesn't have to worry about Intimidate anymore. It doesn't have to worry about getting faked out. And with access to moves like Sacred Fire, and I also believe Extreme Speed. I may be wrong. I heard that might be what's the word?
move
A
tutor.
special move that it
Yeah,
only got for like a event. It might be an event move, but like I think Entei actually kind of has a place because now that it has Inner Focus, it doesn't have to worry about being intimidated. It can blast Sacred Fires off and just be a really great, really fast fire type.
yeah,
So I think that's going to be great for that. I also think Suqueen benefits from it because if it gets Tailwind, it doesn't have to worry about getting faked out for its Tailwinds. I think the hidden ability patch is going to unlock a lot of potential for these Pokemon coming back, and for Pokemon, and these Pokemon like that we haven't seen in a long time and have never seen, such as like Sandrush, Dracovish, is gonna be just they're gonna be everywhere. I think people are gonna just abuse that item as much as they can to get these hidden abilities that haven't been available for years or ever.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you there. It's very exciting for a lot of players to be able to try out some new ideas and some new strategies that previously have not been available to them. So once again, we'll see how those turn out for the metagame and for players in general. But I'm sure it's just, it's especially for content creators like ourselves. I think it's just really exciting to have the opportunity now to kind of go out once Series 7 comes out and be like, okay, guys, here's Sandrush Strakovish. Let's do a video on this today, and or even a Twitch stream, and just see how that goes.
Right.
Because people want to see how it works, what the synergies like, especially on a sand team where typically like Vicious Ren seems to be pretty good, especially if you go. We would talk about this in the previous video. You actually brought up some of the same abilities and Pokemon that Moxie Boosted brought up as well. So a lot of people are really thinking in the same vein here about some of the top Pokemon, Entei, Dracovish, Suicune, that sort of thing. So I'm with you there for sure. Now, the real question, probably the most important question: which Tapu Guardian is going to reign supreme? Typically, Bulu has been number 4, but I just want to say this. Preston. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay,
Okay.
Adamant, Max
Okay.
Attack,
Okay.
Choice Banded,
Okay.
Grass Stab, Grassy Terrain, Priority, in Grassy Terrain, Tapu Bulu, 5 stat points higher in attack than Rillaboom. That thing is hitting like a truck. Okay, I just want to put it out there.
Okay. Yeah.
But
You've put it out there,
yes, but
and now
I
it's
want,
out
yeah,
there.
it's out there. But don't let that sway your opinion, please. Give me your fully fledged opinion. What do you think is going to reign supreme in Series 7?
Tapu Koko, hands down.
Yeah. Are you
Hands down,
afraid
Tapu
at
Koko.
all that Skydrop is no longer a move in the game?
No, I'm not afraid Skydrop is no longer a move because I never used Skydrop on my Tapu Koko.
Okay.
The reason why I say Tapu Koko is hands down the best Tapu, with Tapu Lele being a close second, is Tapu Koko getting access to its physical fairy stabs
Mm-hmm.
and also getting access to rising voltage makes it just a absolute powerhouse on the physical and the special sides of things. I was doing some calculations on Picolytics to see just how much damage these Tapus were going to be putting out with their new moves and their new way of working. And a lot of people have been saying like, "Oh, Celesteela, Dynamax Celesteela is going to be absolute crazy. Like, how are we going to beat it?" And I was like, I wonder how much a rising voltage does to a Dynamax Celesteela. So I looked up, put in Life Orb, rising voltage versus Dynamax, max HP, specially invested, calm nature Celesteela, and it almost one shots it. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And at the same time, I found this out the other night with Alex Arand Azulite Poke that the target has to be grounded to get the doubling effect of rising voltage, not just the user.
Really?
Yeah, so
Not just the user.
this is a big thing. So if you pair a gravity user with Tapu Koko,
that's true.
that Celesteela is not just maybe one hitting. Okay, it is gone. It is
right.
gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's gone.
That's the thing that we found out. Do you think that rising voltage is going to do the double damage in electric terrain by itself with Koko being grounded? No, the target also has to be in electric terrain as well.
But then if you're like, oh, I want to make sure I definitely get the KO on Celesteela, I'll run physical Koko.
Yes.
Because now Koko has access to Play Rough, access to Wild Charge, Brave Bird. Like, not only can it set its own terrain, hit dragons incredibly hard, but it can also be a speed control option with max airstreams. Like, it's going to be dominant. It is going to be dominant.
Yeah.
Like, and if you can position it well to where you can get Dragapult without any like Togekiss redirection or whatever, Tapu Koko wins that fight. Like, it wins the Dragapult 1v1. It beats Kartana. It does huge damage to Salamence, huge damage to Garchomp. It can, and then it also has the options to Dynamax to take more moves. Rising Voltage and then Wild Charge in terrain can take out a Dynamax Finny. Same with Rising Voltage, it can almost take out a Dynamax Finny, and I think everybody was thinking about how crazy Dynamax Finny is going to be. Like, it's gonna be incredibly good, and I think after that, the next best Tapu you'll see is like Choice Scarf Expanding Force Tapu Lele. Like,
yeah.
So I just think, unfortunately, because Tapu Lele is my favorite Tapu. I love Tapu Lele. I just think it's so great, but Tapu Koko is going to dominate. It's the best Tapu.
Preston, I appreciate your expertise, your opinion, and your thoughts today. Really makes a difference for this series overall as a whole. So big thank you to you. And once again, Twitter, right, at SnoozeVGC is the best way to kind of follow up with what you're doing. And you're releasing a new video next week going over some Pokemon abilities. Is that correct as well?
Correct. Yeah. And actually, I might even just be, we'll probably be releasing it this week and then another one next week. I try to do a video a week with my schedule right now.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And thank you to all of you who are watching. Really do appreciate it. We'll have more of these coming up in the future real soon. But for now, how we doing? Have a great night.